Jake, Lambert, Lambo, Lambinator. I've never started like this. Thanks for doing this.
Is this us talking or is this us on the show?
This is us on the show.
Right.
That's why I said Lambo, Lambinator. We're good friends. So I feel like the audience should, I just want to flag that to the audience. But I think you keep your cards close to your chest. So I'm going to be hearing a lot of this for the first time.
Right, okay. Well, yeah, if I decide to show you my hand.
Yeah. We start with quick fire. You ready?
Yeah.
It's a bit of either or.
Okay.
Pogs or Panini stickers?
Pogs.
Pogs. Did you actually play it?
Yeah, I like the slammers.
Don't know what you're talking about.
You'd get different slammers. You can get it was the one I really wanted was a coffin-shaped slammer. But I remember it was the first time I ever heard the word bankrupt because I was in primary school. Somebody lost all his pogs and he went, I'm bankrupt now. And I didn't know what that meant, but it made me really sad.
Okay.
He'd lost all his, I guess his parents must have been, and he just heard the term and was using it at school.
Oasis or Blur?
Oasis.
Favourite Spice Girl?
Baby.
Playing out or playing computer games?
Playing out.
What were you doing?
Generally. Football in the street, hockey in the street.
Hockey in the street?
Yeah.
Can't just say hockey in the street in the same tone as football in the street. Football in the street, completely normal. Hockey in the street.
Because we watched Mighty Ducks.
What? I was about to say.
And everyone down my street got ice hockey sticks for Christmas.
Yeah.
And we'd had the goals and we would go out there and play, but we played with a ball rather than a puck, obviously, because it's on the street. And because we lived on a dead end, so you could play until someone went, car.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Doing one of my bits.
Oh, yeah.
Car.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be more likely to be seen smoking behind the bike shed or in the library?
Library.
Would you be in the library, though?
Yeah. Me and my friends. Did you want a further anecdote to this?
Yeah, go on. Squeeze it.
We went through a phase of loving playing cards, and the teachers let us go and play in the library and some of the classrooms during lunch break instead of being outside.
Who's us? How many?
Me, Tom, Seann, Simon, Chris.
What is this, the
usually
Bible?
That 5.
Well, the 12 disciples.
That was the main 5. Sometimes Greg would have come in, Lewis, Jay came in for a while. JJ was very good. Yeah, but that was the core was
Judas
the 5 of us.
Was there? Okay, but it's cards, so not reading. Cards.
No, yeah, but I did also like to read.
Okay.
But in the library, I'm thinking about at school. When people were behind the bike sheds, I'd have been there playing cards.
Right, very nice. And finally, weed or booze?
At what age?
So I suppose when that starts, at the beginning of that, what were you delving into first?
Right, I thought you meant like at school, but booze. But I never
first.
say booze. I don't think I've ever said the word. I think I've just said the word booze for the first time. Alcohol.
How did it feel?
Not good.
No, it doesn't
it's like
seem
bloke. Good. I can't say either. Some bloke just came up to me the other day. I can't say stuff like that.
Don't say bloke.
No, can't say bloke. Geezer.
You can say geezer. What you wouldn't say about someone. He was a bit of a geezer.
I would, but I'd have to go bit of a geezer. I'd have to do that. I think I'd have to really let you know that I'm not saying this as me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we hear it? Can we hear it from you? Can you try and say it straight?
Okay.
Just out of my own curiosity.
Just had a run-in with a guy in the street. He was a bit of a geezer. It doesn't work, does it? You'd go, no, he wasn't.
It was the way you went up.
Did I go up?
Bit of a geezer?
Bit of a geezer.
Like it was a question.
Bit of a geezer. Can I say that?
Is it geezer?
Some bloke.
Is it lad? Bloke? You had a
bloke, booze, none of that. Yeah.
Fine.
If I did smoke weed, I wouldn't have even said weed. It would have been marijuana. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I call it the naughty leaves.
Do you know, I used to not even like to use the word hoodie because I didn't feel like me. I used to say hooded jumper because hoodie felt too. I was like, where's this come from?
You couldn't say hoodie. Are you comfortable with it now?
Now I do, but I never liked...
The H word?
I've never liked people's nicknames. I've never used nicknames. I just go, what is your actual name? I'll use that
A lot of people call you Lambo.
Michael McIntyre started that and other people, and I let him use it. I let people use it for me. I've had nicknames myself, not all flattering, but people have given them to me.
Like, what are they?
The first...
That's a great question. I want to put that in the show.
Put it in the show.
Any nicknames? The first one, go.
First one I remember having was Spurhead.
Excuse me?
Spurhead.
Spurhead?
Yeah, I was at a football academy and I used to wear baseball caps a lot when I was younger, and I had a Tottenham one that said Spurs on it. And people just Spurhead. So when I won probably like at the end of the week, it was probably like most improved. The one they give to the guy who you're definitely better than you were when you got here, and that's something.
Yeah.
And as I went to get it, everyone and all the children around were going, Spurhead, Spurhead. But my mum didn't know this, so she thought I was getting abused.
Oh, no.
Yeah, could have been worse if it was a Nike tick.
Okay. Right. I say, okay, slightly deeper questions. Bit all over the place today, I'm afraid. Sorry. Two
Today.
kids. Taking its toll. Right. Okay. So, first time drunk. You know.
Yeah, it would have been at Tom Wakefield's house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, Tommy.
his mum and dad were the first to let us have beer at theirs. And we had a few people over. Remember, one boy went through all the phases of alcohol within about an hour.
Oh, wow.
He'd got really up, punched the garage door and started crying over the space of an hour. And even then I remember thinking, okay, this isn't real. You're doing what you think. Again, someone else is copying your parents. He might have been the same as the bankrupt boy. Just copying his parents.
That's how you were analysing it already.
Yeah.
He did that, and you were there at like 12 going, he's got problems at home.
Yeah. I think genuinely, actually, you saying that, most of my life has been me going, this isn't real. We're all just pretending to live the phases of life that we're supposed to live.
Oh.
I've always thought that. Yeah. Is that too deep, too early?
Difficult to leave that one, I think. I kind of just want to stay there.
Yeah.
How do you mean, back that up?
I just became aware.
Are you sure you're not projecting?
I don't know. What do you mean?
As in, that's you, that's what you're doing, so you think that everyone else is doing it.
Maybe, maybe, but I don't think I found myself doing it. I was like, we're too much playing the part of this. Like, even when I was younger, not understanding why, like, weddings existed. What are we all doing? And I was probably like, I was probably like a page boy at 9 going, what is this? Why am I wearing this?
That's exactly the comedian. It absolutely has to be standing there going,
what are we doing here?
Absolutely, what are we doing?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, what are we doing?
It's insane.
Yeah, really young. I was a page boy for my uncle and his wife. Not anymore, but I was the page boy, and I remember putting the top hat on and going, what is this? I also, with the hat, I wanted it doing that over my ears because it made me look like Martin Clunes. And I wanted to look like him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I imagine that's a first.
Yeah,
not many people. Yeah, not many people going, I'm trying to, what are you doing there?
Trying
to look like Clunes.
I look like Martin Clunes, yeah.
So you love Men Behaving Badly?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the scene with Neil Morrissey, when it's one of my favourite ever, in those like top 10 sitcom moments.
Yeah.
Easily in the top 5, maybe possibly 3, is when he is trying to remove his own tooth. Do you remember that?
Yeah, great.
Dorothy! Dorothy! And he can't pronounce her name down the phone to the hospital and then has to spell it.
Yeah.
Oh! Yeah,
great.
Incredible.
I just love the episode where they went around all the local pubs to rank each pub to see what was the best one, and all like the urinals to go, what was the best pub? And me thinking, that's adulthood.
And that's also kind of what social media is now. They would have gone viral.
Yes.
Going out and rating.
We're
racing
do that.
The top 10 local pubs in the area.
Yeah, they would have called it boozers. Another word I never would have said.
Okay, so first, if you've had one, I can't imagine, first fight.
Yeah, we would have been in, I think, year 8 or 9, and Amrit Powell had just sort of been saying stuff between the two of us. He then emigrated to Canada, not because of the fight, but he certainly was like promoting it. That's what everyone would use the term, that the fight was being promoted by him.
Yeah.
We were fighting, and I remember everyone was around us. Everyone was like, them two are fighting at the break, and I was like, are we? I didn't really want this.
How has this come about? How did the promoter stir this up? What was
he said this about.
What was he saying? Can you remember?
Cannot remember, because I wouldn't have said. I was like, what is this? So two fights. One of them never happened. This one, basically, he was punching me in the face. I remember thinking, this doesn't really hurt. Being punched in the face, it didn't hurt. But we were also, he was about 12. But so was I, to be fair. It didn't hurt. And then as he walked
That's
away at
hilarious.
the end, I thought, it looks like I've lost this. So I just ran and kicked him in the back. And then... and then
It looks like I've lost this.
Holly Wakefield, whose mum and dad, Tom's older sister, whose mum and dad gave us the alcohol first, she said, I need to make it look like you've not been in a fight because the teachers are coming. Miss Goodman came, found the two of us, and we were both sat outside her class crying. And then I just said, and we won't use the name, but I turned to him, I said, what if we just both blame him and say that we didn't do anything? He just kept saying stuff. And he was like, yeah, okay. And then we did that. Then he went to Pakistan on holiday and he bought me a cricket ball. And I went to Canada that same year and I bought him back a mug.
Sounds like a kind of rom-com.
Yeah, we were friends
Almost.
after that, yeah.
Oh, so you had that's quite unique that you had a fight, and for you it was a bonding experience.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Then there was an issue when I was in year 10. There was this boy in school, and he was a bigger boy, and his friends had drawn on the board a picture of him with a big round circle with a little head.
Yeah.
When he came in, I was holding that pen. He walked into the class, saw that, and just lost it.
Oh, wow.
Everyone stepped in to stop him.
Yeah.
And I remember it's when I knew I was a bit different, I think, because I remember everyone saying to him, and we were in the same year, saying, you can't fight Jake. That's not fair. That can't happen. And everyone just went, this can't happen. And they were just holding him all back. And I was like, why? But I was like, what?
No, look how pathetic he is.
Yeah.
You can't.
It was like that. Yeah. I was like, what? But
That's
they were going-
amazing that you could take a punch though as well, and that not hurt. That's pretty. That actually links finally into our new segment. Does this hurt? So, okay, all right. So you would? Do you think you had a mouth on you? Is there anything in that? It sounds already. Although you,
I didn't do anything. So the first time was someone saying this and that. The second time I was just holding the wrong pen at the wrong time.
Right.
But certainly didn't have a because I was very scared at school. My school was very rough, very rough.
Right.
Let's
get to the rough school. Let's hold that. Hold that. Sorry, we will get to the rough school. I just want to finish with this. The first. We'll end on this. Just first kiss, and then we'll crack on.
Yeah, Kirsty Baxter.
Where was it?
In the school playgrounds. I've
just realised you not elaborating. And that means that I have to dig in. It then makes the question quite creepy.
Yeah.
Your first kiss. If you just take it away, but then if I have to go where, right, okay, and how did that happen? It just starts to sound.
It was like, but it was
not like how I want it to.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll just move on.
School playground, spin the bottle, but because everyone wanted to try kissing.
At lunchtime.
Lunchtime.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Okay. Well, I want to get to the school, but first, what I like to do is get a sense of when you ask someone where they're from and they just tell you, but give me a sense of what that looks like. Do you know what are the houses? What are the where you grew up? When you go out, you talked about playing out.
Yeah,
and obviously there's a dead end. What do you see? What's the lifestyle of the neighbourhood?
So it's Slough.
Yeah.
So it's in Langley in Slough.
Because I've always said this. You sound a bit like Brent.
Yeah.
So
We're both.
it's mad, isn't it?
And people will sometimes comment and go, "Oh my god, this guy sounds just like Ricky Gervais."
Yeah. Right.
I'm from Slough. I can't help that.
Slough.
So I'm from Slough. So my street was a dead end where everybody knew each other. We all knew each other. So that was very nice because if you went round, then it was Langley Village, and we knew. Robert and his dad owned the fish and chip shop, so we could go in there and get free chips. We knew everyone all around.
I mean, that's dream stuff when you're a kid.
It was amazing. So we'd play out in the street, and then there was a guy called Roy, and he owned 2 houses, and the whole front garden was all overgrown with big trees and bushes. If the ball went in there, the ball would go in there, and as you went to get the ball, you'd hear like a on the window. We'd all run away.
Yeah.
But then he was out one day. And we went to get the ball back, and his wife, Mary, she opened the door, and she said, what happened was, during the war, when he had gone to war, the women that stayed
Which
behind,
war?
two, I didn't ask. I probably didn't know, but it's all like very innocent. I wouldn't have known. We were that young.
How old is he? But you can't have been in
He was
World War
old.
II.
World War II would make sense. Yeah, I guess so. He went to war. Yeah, I think it was World War II because she said, all the women that stay behind, you checking the maths.
What? Yeah.
When was the war? 39?
Well, it ended in
Yeah.
45.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if he was 20 then,
Yeah.
and then,
Blimey.
yeah, it's fine, yeah.
Wow.
And he was an old man. She said, and she was old herself, and had a son that lived with them who never left the house. But we had one of our neighbours, Bev and Trev, their house was connected to one of the houses, and at night, the parents lived in one house, he lived in the other, and they would just hear him moving furniture at like 2 o'clock. And if I stayed over, I'd hear it as well. Just hear furniture being moved around. But anyway, Mary said that when he'd gone to war, all the women started their own football league, and she started playing football. And when he came back, he found out she'd been playing football. He didn't like it, and they didn't like that they had started their own thing. And so he's like, that's why he doesn't like you playing. He doesn't like it at all. But she goes, but I love it. Just so you know, Mary.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Then there was Bev and Trev. There was people all the way around. We had a police officer.
That's incredible that he went to war,
Mm.
quite possibly the Second World War.
Yeah, we think. Yeah.
And he came back, and the problem he had was football.
yeah.
That was
He was
his
a
main
very
bugbear.
miserable man. Yeah, but he'd seen stuff.
He'd seen some shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, he didn't like us.
I mean, what I'd say to you, Jake, is have some respect, mate.
Yeah.
He's the reason you speak English.
He's the elder. Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean?
Nine. But we had a police officer, and we had the postman, and the postman, he knew that I liked Friends, the show.
Sitcom.
Yeah. So
Why did he know that? The postman knew that.
he knew it. But he was Nobby.
Why did he know? Nobby
The
Yeah,
postman.
yeah.
So because we didn't have the channel it was on, like Sky, we didn't have Sky, he would record it for me. And when he was doing the rounds in the morning, he would drop off the tape with last night's episode of Friends, and I would watch it before school.
Lovely.
Yeah. He also, my mum says he was the one that called her about Diana, and he called her when Eric Cantona kicked a Crystal Palace fan, and they went over and watched because he had Sky.
Sure he's not your dad? Should you get a DNA test? I think you know this probably, but I once was in HMV, and I'd been in there a kind of curious amount of time, that the manager came up to me and went, right, you, out, come on, got you. I went, huh? He went, I know what you're doing, come on, out. I went, what do you mean? Because you're stealing stuff. Come on. I went, I'm not stealing stuff. Yeah, you are. I went, no, I'm not. I'm putting the Friends videos in chronological order. You remember the sides of the VHS tapes had like the city, the landscape of New York. I would fix that.
Yeah,
so that when,
yeah.
And he just looked, he kind of left a beat. I went, all right, you can stay then. Do the rest.
You've always had that problem, I think, of how you look and who you are aren't actually the same thing.
I know.
So like people probably thought you were quite like, when you started comedy with the big hair.
Yeah.
It was very big. It was too big, wasn't it? Like
it was too big.
Yeah.
It was too big.
And it's not one of those things where you go back and watch it now and go, oh wow, that was mad. At the time you went, that is mad. Like even at the moment.
Why did no one say?
I didn't know you then. I would have.
Yeah,
like the juncture thing.
Yeah, we're not going to get into the juncture thing. We're not getting into the juncture.
Yeah.
I once used the word juncture.
Not once, used it every night on the tour.
On my set.
And when we became closer, I said, do you know the audience stop everything when you say the word juncture because they're not expecting you to say it.
Yeah.
And then you listen to it and it was like a vacuum in the room, wasn't it? Going, huh?
Yeah.
Why is he saying juncture?
Yeah.
And it's because you don't look like you should say juncture.
So juncture.
Like me with bloke and geezer.
For anyone that's concerned, I've stopped using the word juncture. It was at that show when Jake told me it was at that point that I stopped using it.
You probably could with the glasses on and a pen in your hands.
Do you know what? I'm sick of it. I'm nearly 40 and I've got 2 kids. I can't walk around in a leather jacket with long hair.
That's not the alternative.
What?
Yeah, that's not the alternative. I just mean now you look like that. You could say juncture.
Am I allowed to say it? Juncture's back, everyone.
Juncture can be back.
This juncture that it returned. So
it was 8 years ago I stopped you saying it.
Right. Where are we? I don't normally get lost on this, but you're picking me up on juncture. Friends videos. We're in the close. There's a postman.
He's delivering the tapes to me in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Know what you are.
So. Well, that's it. No, it's getting a sense of
the sense of
Slough and everyone knowing each other. And I wonder what
Creeping Jesus.
Excuse me.
We had Creeping Jesus. We had a man who lived in a house by the school, and he was old and I think German. And go back to the war. The rumor was that he was here when the war finished and he didn't ever go back.
Oh, right.
But feel quite bad for him. I think a few people in the end, as we got older, started to become friends with and talk to him a little bit. He was just a man, lived on his own, but he looked like Jesus and he was Creeping Jesus. And then I got a poem published called Creeping Jesus' Halloween House.
You got a poem published?
It's like a school book, like
okay.
that sort of thing. But it went around the country. I've still got it at home. Could have brought it in. Creeping Jesus' Halloween House. But yeah, we had characters like that around. But it was very the Mars.
It sounds nice, by the way. So generally speaking, it's just sound like you grew up in a nice area. What kind of class was it? I suppose if you get to go, I think the class system here level, the class level for this was
what I think was my parents. I think were in a council house, and then this was the first thing they ever bought. They bought this house. I think it was a lot of people that had just done that.
Oh, the Thatcher thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, so Thatcher, you can, if you're renting this for the council, if you get enough money, you can buy it.
No, they were in one and they came up, but bought another. But the day when they went to visit it, the man who was there had got divorced and he didn't want to move out. And then as they were,
he just got back from the war.
as they were, basically he didn't want to leave, and then he said, "I'm going to put a curse on the house." And then the day before,
your life so far is like Stranger Things.
Right?
I feel like I'm like listening to you pitching me season 5.
Right? Yeah. Well, the day before they moved in, the upstairs fell in, so the hallway floor fell in, and then a few years later, my mum was cleaning out behind the boiler, which was in the cupboard above the stairs, and she found a bit of paper tied up with a bit of string. And she opened it and it was all some gibberish she couldn't work out. She took it into work and the lady said, "That's a spell." And so they set fire to it. And my mum said it wouldn't catch light. So I just flushed it down the toilet. But we think he did that. I just could see your face changing as I was saying that. So that sort of thing. But then the Mars factory was down the way. So every now and again, the world smelt of chocolate. So it was like Charlie and Chocolate Factory. You could smell Mars. You could smell the chocolate like one day a week as they were making it.
It's like a children's book. Your life is just an amalgamation of all these different novels and series aimed at children.
Yeah, and because we had the police officer, one day me and my friend Lewis were playing out in the street.
Oh, we found a lamp and we rubbed it, and out came this blue man.
A car came down the street. A guy got out and he ran away down the alley at the end of the street. We were like, it was like a gold Fiesta. We were like, what was that about? So we looked in the back and there was a load of frozen food in the back, like meat. So we went and knocked on the policeman's door, Paul, and he came out and he said, "Oh yeah, this looks like it's been stolen." And then as we were looking around, a van turned up, and the van, the same man that had run away got out, and a bigger man, a bloke, a geezer.
Yeah,
and he
well done.
got out.
That didn't feel weird at all.
And they went to get it, and I remember Paul saying, "If you go in that car, I'm arresting you." He didn't know he was a police officer, so it probably didn't make much sense. But then he went, "If you touch that car, I'll arrest you." And then he touched the car. He went, "If you open that boot," he kept saying it, and he was doing everything he would say. And then it got to the point where the two of them were then, this police officer and this bloke geezer were fighting in the street. And me and Lewis had caused all of this because we had gone to knock for him and said, "We think this has happened." Then the two of them, and then so Paul said, "Lewis, go and get your dad. Jake, go and get your dad," as they were fighting on the street. Lewis did go and get his dad, but I was scared of violence, so I went home and then just didn't tell my dad what was happening. Luckily, Nobby came back with his son at that time, Big Mark. They got out the car and they thought two of us were under the van trying to get a ball. Then they realised it was the police officer Paul fighting, And they thought when he got arrested, then the police turned up and arrested him. And then because they were from, we think, a slightly rougher place down the street, I remember thinking that night, I was laying in bed thinking they were going to come and set fire to all our houses.
The end. Wow.
So that sort of childhood.
Okay. So yeah, that sort of childhood. So what did that, if you look back at it, looking back at that, how much do you think that growing up there in Slough affected who you became? Do you know, are you a product of where you came from?
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. In
think what sense?
I think, I just think it was very normal, even though all of that I just said probably didn't sound it. Slough, the place.
Well, that's what you've described in all seriousness is this. It's a wonderful world through the eyes of a child. You know,
yeah.
But I still get a sense of, because of the close and everyone knowing each other. Like I know what you mean by normal.
Yeah. So and Slough itself is, and so there was no like.
You
big
never
talk.
said the class. You never.
Well,
actually
I didn't even know that existed till I started comedy.
Exactly. But if you look back,
I think probably lower middle.
Yeah. Sure.
But I think there was like, Trevor was a plumber, Nobby a postman, a police officer.
Yeah, I get it.
I think that.
Yeah. But it gives us a sense of the area,
street,
I think.
Yeah. But then there were on the end were the Pepins. And they lived facing the curve. That if you went that way, it got a bit rougher.
Pepins? It doesn't even sound like a real family name. It sounds like a family name you'd get in a children's book.
Yeah.
And out came Pepins the penguins. And the Pepins walked out. They were very happy penguins.
Them two, they would sort of come into the group every now and again, but they could never quite find their way in. But basically, they had a brick wall, but some people would forget to take the turn in at night, and their wall was always getting crashed into.
Oh,
that was just like such a regular thing that, the wall's gone again.
We were a very unlucky family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. And so what we've got here is obviously your voice. You sound like Brent.
Yeah.
Like that, got that Gervaisian kind of twang. But this sense of normality. What do you mean by that?
What I mean was, and is, there was no sense of like what you're going to go on to do in life. I think everything was just about having fun.
Yeah.
It was all about that. Like I remember nights having people from the street over ours and my mum and Bev being drunk wrestling in a paddling pool. Life was just all about having fun. That was the number one thing. It wasn't about do well in life and da-da.
Yeah.
My mum would say to me sometimes, I remember if we were in the car.
What did they do?
My mum worked for Black & Decker till I started primary school. Then she was worried I was going to get bullied, so she got a job at the school. And my dad puts on like events, and he worked for BMW. He did all sorts of different jobs.
And what did your mum say to you? I interrupted you. What did you remember your mum saying to you?
So I remember whenever it was just me and her, we would like, if we drove through Slough and we saw something not nice or somebody not nice or something happening.
What's not nice? Sorry to keep on.
It would maybe be like people arguing in the street or like just something like not.
Someone on drugs, that kind of thing.
And drunk and that sort of thing. Then she would always say
antisocial.
Yeah, she'd always say that I was better than. She'd always say, make sure you work hard enough to get out of here because you're better than. She'd always say that.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You say that's really interesting to me. So
she was right
in the but in the middle of in this kind of this normality, this fun world that you've been given in that kind of close. It almost sounds like a close, you know, that with the road of the dead end and that community and your mum and everything being about fun. Actually, your mum has already planted a seed of some aspiration. Aspiration has been kind of dropped there. The idea of that have fun. I'm glad you're having a lovely time, but do get out of this.
Yeah, and there was two things she would always say, that, and the other one was when I was born, she remembers the lady next to her, they just both had a baby, and she said, what's his name? My mum said, Jake Lambert. And she said, oh, he sounds like a film star. And she would always tell me that.
And those kind of things, do you think, so
still working
the
on
fact
it.
that, you know, what'd you say?
Still working on it.
Do you think those
Instagram
things...
wasn't a thing then, she couldn't have known.
So basically, she got it right.
Yeah. A real star.
It's bigger than being a film star. Yeah. But,
some of the views get more than a film.
did that kind of, was that imprinted on you then? The fact that for me, it's quite telling that even though like we're laughing at it and it's really funny, the fact that you can call back to that it registered, that it's there and you're going, oh yeah, my mum used to say I'd be a film star. It's like, well, it's done something then.
Yeah. Well, she didn't say it, the lady did.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
But she just said, you need to get away from here.
Jake, I've got 2 kids.
Just want to be like, my mum wasn't telling me you're going to be a film star. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But she was saying, she was very protective of me though. My sisters were fine. She knew they were fine.
Older sisters.
2 older sisters, yeah.
And that's the offspring. It's the 3 of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but she knew I wasn't, which is why she got a job at the primary school when I started going there, because she was worried.
Worried about what?
Just I was very small, and I think
what does that mean? You were very. Do you mean literally? You were just. He's too small. I better get a job at the primary school.
Yeah.
Or was it something about you?
It would. I think maybe she hadn't had a job for a while as I was growing up, so just the 2 of us. So we'd spend a lot of time together.
Oh.
So I'd go and do the food shop with her on a Thursday. Then I'd get the Beano and the Dandy.
Yeah.
It was like just us. And then we'd go and pick up the girls, and then after school, and then they would be around. So I just think she was like I was small. I remember my sister saying if I didn't start finishing my meals, I'd grow up to be an ant.
I'm using that one with my daughter, so thank you very much.
You believe it, because you don't understand. Like, when they would say, I remember at primary school when they said that we evolved from monkeys, I remember thinking, I don't ever remember being one. I don't know what you mean. Taking things very like that. So
yeah, very
I thought
literal.
I would go on to be an ant. I was a monkey. I was now what I am now. Then I'd be an ant. That's what I thought would happen. So...
there's an edit of this where we could make you look so mad.
Just changing your questions and then make it really serious. What was your biggest fear during COVID? I'd grow up to be an ant.
Yeah, you'd love to be an ant. So, if Aristotle has a quote, the quote is, "Give me a child," it's a philosopher, "give me a child until the age of 7, and I will." But you just gave me a look of.
I just didn't know you were going to quote this.
Yeah.
Say again.
Aristotle says, "Give me a child until the age of 7, and I will show you the foundations of the man." Do you think that if Aristotle sees 7-year-old Jake Lambert, there's anything there at the age of 7 that he's going to say, well, this guy's going to go on to be Instagram, TikTok, trust me, they're happening, they're coming. Social media, it's going to be a thing, and this guy is going to be at the centre of it and selling out rooms all around the world, being a stand-up comedian and writer.
It's not that wise what he said, is it? Because that is what it is.
I would...
It's the foundation. That's where you start from. You go, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not that wise, is it? Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying, yes, but some people don't believe in that. Some people, because 7's not the beginning of being a man, is it? Yeah. There are people out there that would say, well, you're just attaching that to that, and you can do that with anything. And actually, your mum's friend, the neighbour, saying he's going to be he could be a film star. It's just irrelevant. It's just a coincidence. It doesn't matter. Nothing to do with Lambert going viral years later.
Thank you. Yeah. No, he was right then. Yeah. I mean, he was right about me.
But do you think he would have been able to see that? Do you think with 7-year-old you, he would have been able to show you?
If he'd understood comedians, would he?
Yes, I'm going to say yes.
He could have. Basically, what my childhood was me being very confident and funny around other children, and then being very quiet around adults.
Okay.
And I think that's still me as a comedian, in that I like to decide when the attention's on me and when it's not.
Right.
And that, I think, is what a comedian is really. When people think, if you were throwing a house party, and you were not a normal person,
yes,
with a normal job, with normal friends who did normal jobs, and they said, we've got a stand-up comedian coming to the party.
Oh my God.
What they would think was, this guy's going to be like, hey, and we're not that.
No.
I was probably until I started comedy, maybe. Then you get to channel it and you go, actually, that's when I want it.
Absolutely.
That's when I want the attention.
I agree
so you get that fix-fed. Is that right?
We get the fix, absolutely.
So he would have. I think if he'd seen that, he would have gone, oh, this is somebody who likes to decide when the attention's on him. you should be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what kind of things were you doing? Can you remember? And, I know it's a long time ago, so don't worry if not. But can you remember any of the things that you were doing for attention that perhaps the other children weren't?
No, I think it was just sort of generally witty. But also being like aware. I just remember the teachers would always sort of like I was too aware. Like even when we were at like year 1, year 2, I remember thinking like we're all just like playing roles of like how this is supposed to go.
Yeah.
But also I remember being in year 1 or 2. I think it was 2. It was 2. And we were bored one day. And it was me, Renee, Mimi, and Kirsty. And we were bored. And they said, Jake, you're funny. Do something to make us laugh.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, oh, that's how they see me. And at that exact moment, a bird pooed on my head, which was great because I had no idea what I was going to say or do to make them laugh. I was so lucky. Because I was like, I don't know what I would have just tried, I would have panicked.
And they were going, how did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Magician never shows his tricks. Yeah,
so because I don't know, I remember, I can still remember thinking, what am I going to do here? Because I'd never been put on the spot. I could just react.
Yes.
I've not written any material. And then that happened and I was like, thank goodness. Because then they laughed.
Yes.
Obviously.
So what kind of child were you at school? Sometimes those could be different people. The child where you're playing out and you're at home and you're in that area. Were you, I can't imagine you were a naughty kid.
No. It's pretty good, I think.
So you weren't a class clown as such?
I wouldn't say so, because I think even then I remember thinking, I don't want to be that one. I remember thinking like, I like to be funny, but when it's right.
So you did want to make the other kids laugh. Was that happening in the classroom?
Yeah, that would have been.
So there's a kind of degree of it.
Yeah.
It's that it just wasn't getting you in trouble.
It wasn't disruptive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Good timing. It's all about timing. But, I remember making the teachers laugh as well. I remember like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I remember that. So I just remember being aware enough that they would sort of find some stuff I was doing funny. Or sometimes making my mum laugh. I remember doing that. I remember like really young and just going, why do all... And it must have been the sort of music she was into or watched. But I remember it was all seeing why do... Is it something about men in blazers who had it rolled up to there and they were all dancing like this? And I remember, why did everyone just do that? And then she was like crying with laughter. Like, how was this 6-year-old decided to spot that as a thing? I remember just doing it. Going,
that's exactly what, I mean, that's a comedian right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, if he'd seen me, he'd have loved that.
So school, was there any, so often I've found the transition between primary and secondary school, something changes. Was there any kind of transition between those two things? Often, obviously, it's puberty has a lot to do with it. It's around that time.
But that didn't come for a while.
But right, okay.
Yeah, so the biggest difference was because I was very small. I remember having an argument with Johnny Simpson in year 1 where he couldn't believe the fact that he was taller than me but wasn't older. And he couldn't understand that made any sense. He was like, but I'm taller. And I was like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Then I think in year 3, I bit him. So,
wow.
Yeah, that was my one big violent thing I did.
Apropos of nothing, or
we were running.
Were you just really hungry?
I think it was still the thing of him not understanding that I was older,
and that really got to you.
Yeah, and I remember he put his arm over my thing like that, and he was like doing that, and so I had to bite. That was my response.
Self-defense.
I guess. Yeah, I'd still stand by that. Yeah.
I've never quite understood this, and this is a term that gets thrown around a lot. But I mean, you're not short. You're not a short man, are you?
No.
There was a spell.
I remember wishing to be 5'10" with size 9 feet, and I got it because I was just wanted to be so normal. How can I just fit in?
Yeah.
I remember in year 9, we had a big school photo, so they got everybody to line up in height order in the whole school, so they knew where to put us. And I was a year 9. And me and my girlfriend at the time, Sammy, were the last 2. We were behind the year 8s, year 7s.
Okay.
So I remember walking along to get there thinking, this doesn't seem right. But we were like, not that I'm small, but they're making us do this.
Yeah.
And we kept walking to the end while they're going, nope. Oh, you at the end. And I was very small. And then I remember putting tissues at the bottom of my shoe under my foot to make myself just that little bit taller. See if
Right.
if it would just make me a bit taller.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't know if it worked or not, but I just hurt because the tissue comes quite hard
Such a
quite
teenager
quickly.
thing to do.
Yeah.
Despite the pain.
Yeah.
The pain is irrelevant.
Mm.
What other people think of me
Yeah.
is the most important and crucial thing. You had a girlfriend at secondary school.
I had 2 girlfriends in primary school at the same time.
Player!
I was with Renee
At
on
the
and
same
off
time?
from year 1 to
Did
6.
they know about it?
Yeah, they agreed.
Oh my God, you were polyamorous back then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
So, year 4, I was with Renee and Kirsty at the same time. I think
Ahead
me
of
and
your
Renee
time.
broke up at one point when I was dating Mimi Malatinsky.
Yeah.
But then, on and off with Renee for year 1 till 6. Secondary school, nobody in year 7 because my sister was still there. Year 8, Sammy. Then a little bit on and off.
What was school like? The school, I mean.
Secondary school,
Yeah.
rough.
You had a rough secondary school.
Yeah, my mum should have got a job there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But
In what sense was it rough? Again, like just give me a, draw that.
I think the term would be a lot of. I remember learning at school the way to say it was travellers of Irish heritage, but it got to the point where when there were fights, anything to do with them, the dads would turn up.
Oh my
And
God.
we had off the back of our school, we had a drive called Priory Way, and their dads would be there to make sure it was a fair fight. And you'd have to. I would never got involved. Luckily, my sister was a lot different than I am. I remember in year 9, one of the teachers realizing that we were brothers and sisters and couldn't understand it. She couldn't comprehend that we were.
No, I've never
from the
met
same
your
family.
sisters. Or
Well, all that happened is in year 8, 2 traveller boys took our ball and I went to get it back. And one of them was keeping it from me. Then the other one went, "Don't do that. Do you not know who that is?" And he went, "Who?" And I went, "That's Claire Lambert's brother." And he went, "Oh, sorry." And I was never at school at the same time as my sister. She had left before I even got there. One of them was still there. One of them had left.
Right.
But I just knew, and I was fine because of that. But then we
That
had.
basically means she was a nutcase.
Oh yeah, was. But
Thumbs up.
she's just in case she's watching.
Yeah.
We had some during a war we definitely know was the Kosovan War. We had some Kosovans come and start from Kosovo at our school.
Yeah.
And one of them, his
They migrated to Slough.
he had they were unlucky.
Yeah.
But they came to school and basically one of them, when they were in year 8, was having a fight with one of my friends, and the fight happened, or it was something to do with PE. It happened in PE. Anyway, a few days later, this man was in our school, and it was the boy's older brother with a bike chain, and he walked up to the boy without him knowing, smacked him over the head. Then the whole school was chasing this man.
Oh my God.
And the next lesson was cancelled. It was all trying to get us on lockdown. It was rough. And then one of the other boys, the Kosovo boys, he fell out with the travellers and they were having a fight. And during the fight after school, where all the parents were there, the dads, to make sure it was a fair fight,
Yeah.
but there was loads of them against him, he pulled out nunchucks and he was using nunchucks. And I remember being next to one of the teachers and my friend said to him, "You going to do anything?" And he went, F that. Just stood there like, we can't do anything. We had to call the police. It was very, so I would just kept my head down.
And what I was going to say, I kind of have to ask this question. Is like, were you using humour as a way to avoid,
Silence. I was using
Yeah,
silence. Yeah. I remember being livid one day, and I never made this mistake again. It was, I think, Man United lost in a big game.
Good.
And as I was walking, this boy who I was always terrified of, he walked past me, and loads of people from our school were all Chelsea fans. And he walked past, and I was on my own. He was with all his friends. He went, "Who do you support?" And I just went, "Chelsea," because it was the safest option, and they hadn't just lost. Then the next Mufti day, who I was terrified for
Mufti
years,
Day?
like when you get to wear your own clothes.
I've never heard that. Okay, Mufti Day.
He was walking through the school in a Tottenham shirt, thinking, I should have just said Tottenham. Then we were probably the only two in the whole school, and I'd have had a connection with him.
Oh, right.
And I lied just to try and anything to fit in. Everyone was Chelsea, so I just said, "I'm Chelsea," because I didn't know what I thought. I thought if I'd said Tottenham, it was going to put me in a bin. I didn't know.
Yeah, well, that was quite fitting actually because they're rubbish.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
no, I don't know anything about football in the Premier League. But do you? That thing is, I find interesting is fitting in and stand up. Obviously, you know, I can say this as a comic that all of the people there in the room, and what you've got to go and do. A lot of the time, and not everyone has this style, but it's often is fit in. It's that you've got to fit in to make these people laugh. On this night. And do you think that's?
I'm a man of the people.
Oh, yeah, Lambert, man of the
Yeah.
man of the people. Jake Lambert.
Lambert is
do you think
Belgian for shepherd, so I sort of am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. We're just shepherding
The audience,
everyone.
come to me.
Yeah.
I'll show you the way. Yeah, and then I remember
teach me how to do ticket sales, could you?
Nah.
But do you think that if you look back at that, that actually that does roll over into being a comedian? Because I'm just putting that to you. You might go, I don't think there's anything in that. But
yeah, I do. Yeah. And I was still funny and at the right time.
Yes.
And I remember people knew me as being fun. I remember people saying that to me. Oh, he's really funny. I was like, oh, I would not be what you'd imagine. I wasn't doing like handstands for them just to try, or cartwheels, or like writing rude things on the wall to try and get attention. But they knew, they were like, oh, you're funny. And then what happened was when we discovered The Office.
Okay, so The Office changes everything.
Changes everything because we're in suits ourselves. And I remember doing it, and then and Miss Slade, the maths teacher, and she was asking me questions, and I'd realised doing Brent was getting me big laughs. And then I remember her saying, Jake, if you keep doing like impressions of that, you're going to get kicked out. Then she said, next question, ask the maths question. And I went, ooh, don't you know? Ow. And then obviously,
how can you say to me?
Yeah, well, that
when
changed
I ask
everything.
the question, are you a class clown? You say no, and then you get kicked out for doing Brent. I mean, come on,
because
man.
that changed when we discovered that. And then you're getting kicked out, and as I'm going out, we've got the wall is half wall, half glass because it's one of those sort of unit things. And so as I'm walking out past the class, I'm obviously
stairs.
Doing
you doing
that.
the Brent dance?
I was doing the Brent dance. Yeah.
Okay, so before we just deep dive on The Office and the effect it's had on you.
Yeah.
Up until that point, where had comedy or stand-up comedy been in your life? Because it's not been mentioned yet. We've had you being funny, but what about comedy?
Yeah.
Before The Office, pre-Office.
Yeah.
So 2001. Right?
Yeah. When I discovered it, I remember me and my mum discovering it together. But comedy was a big thing in the family. So Fridays at 9 o'clock we all sit down and we watch Harry
Goodness gracious me.
Goodness gracious me. We
Fast
watch
Show.
All of that. Have I Got News for You? Remember
please.
that being for me, Have I Got News for You was like usually the one I started to fall asleep during because I just didn't get it.
I remember once I said someone at school looked like someone walked past the class and I said, he looks like William Hague. And the teacher was like, why do you know who William Hague is?
Yeah.
How much have I got this for you?
Yeah.
I ended up somehow knowing more about politics than anyone.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of names I hear now.
Sorry, the kids in my class.
Yeah. But I guess it was watching stuff like that, and our references then probably change. So I think teachers probably pick up on it. They go, that's funny that he knows that, or you're getting that. That's a teacher would love that.
Absolutely. Partridge. We haven't mentioned Partridge would be in there. Knowing you.
All of that. It was so big.
It was such an incredible time for comedy.
Yeah.
Was it? The 90s. I mean, I know you fall into that trap of because it was our time.
No, it was just better.
If you look back,
I've watched TV now. It was better.
Yeah. But it really
was.
So, yeah.
It's on Harry and Ford and Chums. It's on Netflix. You watch it. You go, no, it was better.
It's timeless.
Yeah,
Partridge is still going.
The
Office
exactly.
is still the greatest. You know.
Yeah. So it was better.
Yes.
Thank God for the internet. But no, it was better. But basically, we'd watch comedy, and I remember even like one of the Austin Powers films coming out, and it was like my parents saying, "You can't go and watch this with your friends. You come and watch it with us. We're going as a family." Okay. Comedy was very like we're watching comedy, and so I remember the first stand-up I ever saw was on TV was just Harry Hill, and we'd got in from a party at my dad's brother's, and when we got back, he said, "Hey Jake, come and watch this." I then read Harry Hill's autobiography, and I could tell when he talked about a certain show, I was like, that must have been the one I'd seen. And he was out there, and I just thought it was hilarious. Then he said, me and your mum are going to go and see him next weekend. And then I remember the next day being like, first thing in the morning, being like, what was it like? He was like, it turns out it would have been headliners in Chiswick. So I went down, I was like, what was it like?
Wow.
And he said, he was great. And he said, and watch out for his support act, a guy called Seann Locke. And then he was like,
no.
So then we followed the two of them, all I love. So I got to tell Harry that and Seann. I got to tell them both of that story.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I told Seann that as we were driving back from a gig in Bristol and I opened for him. He went, this must be brilliant for you. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So was there any, it's a very young age, but was there any idea, again, pre that office, and we know that's going to change your life, but before we get to that, is there any point where you're watching The Fast Show Partridge or anything like that and going, I want to do?
No, because it was like they were otherworldly.
Yeah.
It was too big.
Yeah.
And then I realised, and it helped me understand what the audience think they're watching when they go to watch stand-up. Some of them are what we call comedy savvy, and they get it. But I would watch, see clips of Billy Connolly or stuff like that, and you just thought, Lee Evans, you just thought these were people who were from films and on TV that were just so funny that they just went and spoke to audiences.
Totally.
So you knew nothing, especially in Slough. There's no comedy club. There's nothing like that.
I think me and you are, even though we're very different as acts, we are, there's actually a similarity there, which is we're playing to the same people as the comedy savvy people, but sure, come along and have a nice time. But actually, I want to make people that have been working hard 9 to 5 and knackered. They don't want to have to think about what you're doing and what is the subtext. And it's just, I want to make everyone, basically, quote unquote, normal people.
Yeah,
as you put it.
Yeah, just the general public.
Yes. Yeah, the general public.
General.
Yes, absolutely.
It just play that they can sit down and go, oh, that's funny.
Yes.
I'm laughing and I'm not having to overthink things. I'm not being reminded of negative things or just funny. So I go, that's what we just watched. It was just irreverent was the word, wasn't it? Irreverent. It's just,
but it wasn't comedy about. I mean, you could say the Office had elements of comedy about comedy, but it was, you were taking things at face value.
Yeah,
I think.
But then because stuff never came to Slough, and I remember my first job, I worked at Legoland, and someone I knew there was going to see Ricky Gervais do stand-up.
What, Animals?
I don't know which one it would have been.
The first one was, well, you know,
Animals, then politics. Maybe it was politics.
Fame,
I remember being like, I wouldn't even attempt to get tickets because I assume I couldn't. I wouldn't even know how. I wouldn't know what I would. It just wasn't something you would go to do.
It's another world.
Yeah,
it's just not
so I was
for
like,
you.
You're seeing him. I was like, it was crazy. I don't think I even went to see him live until it was Science, because I just didn't know at that point I could even go. So I was like, how? What do you mean? How did you do that? What is happening? Because it just wasn't a thing that we went to do. I remember I'd been to one concert. It was going to see Simply Red at Wembley.
Sorry.
Which, I'll be honest, I love so much that I've managed to get. We're going again in October. We're going taking my mum and dad to go there. So I think I'd certainly not been to see comedy live until I went to see Ricky Gervais then on Science. Then I probably hadn't really been into a club until I went to do stand-up.
Right. And so, and this impact that the Office has, back to this, getting kicked out of class, but with it came there's a new vocabulary. There's a new, there's almost a new way of being.
Yeah.
These two writers and one actor in Gervais just completely changed the landscape, not just of stand-up comedy, but of how a generation behaved.
Yeah,
the language between
and then
us.
So many comedies that exist off the back of it now that get away with it, and some of them do it better than others, but they've all changed from that.
Yeah.
So it's annoying when people do go, oh, you just sound like Ricky Gervais. I go, well, one, I am influenced by him. Two, I am from Slough. But you can't keep commenting that to everybody that makes I'm actually from Slough. But you can't. No, you can't do that. So you just so that
just start naming towns.
Yeah.
Slough. Is it Lyndhurst? Is that the place?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do it. I had to stop watching him a lot, but when I started stand-up, I banned myself from watching anything he did just because I realised how much I sounded like him.
Right.
So, yeah, but then, what do you want next? What do you want to know?
It's like, whose line is it anyway?
Yeah.
I was hoping you were just going to give us more.
I don't want to.
But,
I know.
That's a shame. Oh, there he is.
And he loves it.
Lambert, he does.
Because it's not vicious. So.
Didn't think you were on tour once, did we? To kill time.
Oh,
you
no.
were David Brent and I was Partridge.
Yeah.
Should we try that for an experiment? So, knowing me, Alan Partridge, knowing you, David Brent.
Oh, Here we are, the two of us, Partridge and Brent, together. So,
okay.
And that's comedy. Really?
But it's my show. So,
is it?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I'll be the judge of that.
I am the judge.
Wow. Are you, though? Or are you just pretending? So, for the cameras.
Who do you think you are?
Mental. Anyway.
So if you wanted to know what it was like on the road with me on tour,
I've not done it for so long. Yours was good. Mine would have been.
That
I had
brilliant.
to stop.
Don't worry. Right, you had to stop. So,
got him. He said it. His words, not mine.
Don't. Right. Okay. Just because I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
Which was always going to happen with you on. So when is the first kind of, I suppose, just germ of an idea happen that you could do this?
Probably. So when I started secondary school, loved drama.
Okay.
And then the drama teacher had a breakdown. So he was gone for 2.5 years. He never came back. Then we got, I won't name her but we got a new teacher and she was great and we really got on. And then I was like, this is great. I can do this. And I would do anything for laughs. Okay. I remember us being like having to do like anything we would do. I realized I could just make it funny and that was better.
Yes.
I enjoyed that more. And then I remember being in Form, the one you went to in the morning, that school. It was so weird, wasn't it? We just put into this other group. Anyway.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
Bye.
But I see you later. And then they're the ones that teach you like odd things every now and again. You go, well, this lesson's an hour now. I thought, usually I'm 8 an hour. Anyway, odd.
And if there's a problem, you go to them. But you've only seen them for 10 minutes in the morning.
Yeah.
I felt like I rewatched The Departed the other day.
Yeah.
And when Martin Sheen's character, sorry, this is relevant. You'll get it if you watch The Departed.
Yeah.
You know when Martin Sheen gets like chucked out of the building and he dies.
Yeah.
And obviously Leonardo DiCaprio's heartbroken. Leonardo DiCaprio said he'd like seen him 3 times in his life for about 4 minutes.
Yeah. It's that. Yeah.
Jack Nicholson is much more like his dad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah. I guess the reference works. It didn't really resonate with me, but yeah. So
basically, would you care if your tutor had been kicked out of the 5th floor building and died? That's what I'm saying.
I would have encouraged it. Awful, man, Mr. Sims. But
So I
remember Grant John. I remember my friend Sean Cannon.
You remember everyone, mate.
Yeah, Sean Cannon said he's the toughest guy in school. I remember him thinking that. And I remember Grant calling my name and I was there, sat next to Michael Turner. And we were sat there and Grant was just going, Jake. And I was just like,
Dan,
keep your head down.
Jake.
And he just,
Jake.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly like that.
Yeah, sorry.
And I'm not responding. I don't know what, if I turn around, I'm going to get like a rubber in the face or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
As in an eraser.
Yeah.
And he went, Jake, what? And he went, you're a sick actor, innit? And I went, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's like, even he's like, yeah, you're so good at that. And I was like, right. And then
that's nice.
I remember this is going to sound really it's stupid because he was like 16. But basically, I remember my teacher called me in and said, everyone's had to give in the class of like 30 people a list of names of people they want in their group. They're like, you're the first on everyone's. And I was like, oh, this all makes sense now.
Right. You're right. I'm
the best.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, it sort of all clicked. And then,
Oh.
I didn't do great in GCSEs.
Oh, well, yeah, what did you, I have to say, actually,
Yeah.
there's not a sense of, and
No.
I've got to let you go, but there's not a sense of like academically,
Mm.
where were you at school? I've kind of
Couldn't.
no idea. In the middle?
No, lower.
Oh, lower.
Yeah, and everyone was surprised. Everyone would look at me like, why are you? And I'm like, I'm just not, you think I'm all good at this, but I can't do this, the exam thing. Remember 11 plus, seeing the words move around and just crying. I was like, this makes no sense.
Same as me.
No one picked up on it. Then I remember it must have been okay because in year 9, one of the teachers called me out of class, Mr. Allen, and he had a motorbike. And he took me to his room and he took me to this computer and he showed me the results. And it was 7, 8, and 9. I was like top 3 in everything across the whole school. And he goes, year 10 just dropped off completely. Or the end of year 9, it dropped off completely.
What happened? The Office?
He asked me this. Yeah, maybe. He asked me the same thing. I was like, I don't know. I was like, no one ever told me I was this good. So I didn't know. I just probably, I didn't know if I was good or not. No one told me. I just couldn't do it. So I remember I hurt my hand. It wasn't broken, but I had it in some, I couldn't write. It hurt to write. And so in one exams, I think the mocks, someone had to write for me. And it was the best I ever did in results. And my handwriting was so bad. I remember I was all given lines in textiles once because we were being bad. And we were all given lines and we had to write the same thing, whatever it was. And at the end, the teacher, I remember by the end, it was squiggles. My writing was so bad.
Yeah. And
she held me back. And I was like, I'm going to have to do the whole thing again. I know this. And she went, what do you want to do when you're older? And I was like, don't know. She goes, you'll do something creative. She goes, this is amazing to look at. And I was like, oh, that's why you're a textile teacher. That's terrible feedback, but it was true. But yeah, and then it was English and drama were the two I just liked. Okay. But then
and that's the combination of you can see that even in stand up, your stand up, the English, the use of language, then
and the
drama,
outs.
the performing, and the.
But yeah, it was. I remember like wanting to make my own stuff, and so like we'd make films and stuff. Or I would say if in drama we're having to all act out Shakespeare, and I'm like, I love to write. Why don't I just write us something to do for our GC? Wouldn't that be different? Should we do that? And then them being like, this is the syllabus, and we have to do that one. And I'm like, why? Why is everything the same? What's happening here?
Yeah.
Didn't understand it. And then shouldn't have got into sixth form because my results were that bad. And then
How many GCSE? How many above C did you get?
Well, two above C, 2 GCSEs. That's all I got. 2 drama and English. That's all I got.
Yeah, okay,
it was that.
Right.
It was maths was like a U. I couldn't do it, and it didn't mean anything to me. I knew I didn't want it, so it didn't mean anything. So I was really bad. And then Miss Smart, who was the head of sixth form, she said, "Look, your results, you shouldn't get in, but you can do English drama." And then we're starting a media studies course. And she went, and I think you'll do. And I did that, and I did well. I got into university off the back of it because I gave my A-level results and lied about my GCSEs, and because everyone said they never check, so I just thought I'll give myself realistic ones, and I got in. They never checked.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
but was there a point before you become a comedian? Is there a point that you're furthest away? Do you think from that happening?
Yeah, it was. I remember working in a garage for Renault.
Yeah, that's.
And
that
I remember
feels quite removed.
Yeah, and I remember going, this is not what was supposed to happen. And I remember,
how old are you then?
Just after university, so probably 22.
Yeah.
And just being like, this isn't right, is it? And I remember thinking I wanted to just walk out of the garage. It was in Slough.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to walk to London and just do something. I was like, just do something, find something, go somewhere and just go, can someone help me? I want to do this stuff. I didn't know what to do. In the end, I realized if I take the money from this job and I make short films, maybe I can like get to do stuff. And then
what's get to do stuff?
Make films, make comedies.
So there was
stuff.
Right. It was all of that kind of encouragement that you started to get about being creative.
Yeah.
That you did have. There were these dreams. These sometimes you would, imagine working in film, being a star, that kind of thing.
Yeah, doing anything. Yeah. Pinewood Studios is just down the street from us. It's just outside Slough. And we'd all be like the idea, me and my friend Jamie, I remember us going there and just writing like our names and phone numbers on like in Black Park that was next to it, and just like trying to like flick it through the fence just to be like, here's our name, and just in case anybody found it and decided to give us a call, we just put it on some card and we're just flicking it in like that. Just being like, maybe someone would see these cards and then pick up and they'd just go, do you want a job? And then even finding out the one girl we knew was working like, and like the payroll there, like she was like doing that, like, whatever that is, I don't know, accounting thing, but not that because she was younger, but like us being like, whoa, she gets to go in there. So we always wanted to do that. And then he's a cameraman now, so he works on like Graham Norton shows. He does stuff. So we were just desperate, being like, maybe someone will find this card and pick us up and go, who are you? And we get a job. But
and this film obviously ends with you then walking in there yourself.
I've been there and I've been to that bit and tried to find the card. I have done that already.
That's amazing.
Couldn't find it. But
that's absolutely amazing.
But then I realised making the short film, I wanted to write, direct, and be in them. And then I thought, I think this is stand-up. If I can just write stand-up, I can just direct myself on stage, and then I can just perform it. I was like, that's easy if I just go and do stand-up. And then really got into that, and then that happened.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, it was a few years later. I put it off. You know what it's like. You discover this magical thing. I then got accepted to be a police officer, because of my initial run-in with the law. I got accepted to be a police officer the same day that Off the Curb Simon. I'd even started. Yeah.
Off the Curb, a comedy agency.
My agency. They offered me the same day. I got a call from them saying, we want you to go work for High Wycombe as a police officer the same day that. So even then, as I was doing comedy, I was like, maybe I should just go and do this. I don't know what's going to happen. I think I applied even before I started doing comedy, but I got picked up, luckily, quite quickly that I just went and did that instead.
Wow.
Yeah. But everything was like, maybe I'll be the funny police officer. Maybe I'll be a teacher. Maybe I'll be the funny teacher. Everything I was like, maybe I'll work on sets, but I'll be the funny one. Then it was like, oh, I think I just want to be the funny. You can just do stand-up. That's just funny without being in a police car. Although I still dream of that.
What's really amazing about talking to you and listening to you is that you get a sense of that what I think people expect you to be like, you're not. The backstory tells a completely different story. And I think that in conversation, if you've come up, of course not every time, but occasionally it's white middle class bloke. And I go, and I always correct them and I go, he's not middle class.
Yeah.
He's not. Obviously, there's a different issue there of climbing classes and where you are now, but I don't mean that. Your background is not that.
No,
and the story tells a completely different story of what people's expectations are. So it's, I'm really glad that you came and did this. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, I think we got away with it, didn't we?
Yes, I think we did.
We acted quite normal.
I loved it. I had so much fun.
Yeah,
that was such a good laugh.
Yeah,
thank you.